I'd like to call to order the Village Board regular meeting of October 31st, 2013, to order at 7:01 p.m. Village Clerk Simsky, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Gunter.
Here.
The clerk's here. Trustee Addington.
Here.
Trustee Barker.
Here.
Trustee Barry.
Here.
Trustee Nero.
Here.
Trustee Scott.
Here.
Trustee Seneca.
Here.
Manager Searle.
Here.
Attorney Perez, I'm sorry.
Okay, here.
I'm so used to saying. And Public Works Director and Assistant Manager May.
Here. Would everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was good.
And at this point, we'll go into open forum. If anybody wants to address the board who has not filled out a form, Police Chief Mulhern will go around and collect those. We do have one. And we've got a request from the Westmont Chamber, Larry Forsberg. It's on the trick-or-treat trail in the state of the village.
Good evening, everybody. Wanted to speak on two quick things. First of all, the trick-or-treat trail last week was absolutely wonderful. I want to say thank you to the 53 businesses that participated to help make that a success, to all the families that came out and participated. We estimated that we gave out about 700 pieces of candy to the participants last Saturday. Also want to say thank you to the police department, fire department, and EMA. We could not do that event safely with all their help, so again, our volunteers played a key role in making that event a success. And I also want to mention that Palladino Photography is sponsoring a costume photography contest. There are 37 participants. The way this costume contest works, it's actually a fundraiser for the Educational Foundation. You can vote for your favorite costume. It's 1 penny per vote, so vote early and often, up and through November 7th, and you can vote over at the Frame Makers. All the photos are on display there. So we want to encourage everybody to participate in that. Secondly, the 2013 State of the Village address was yesterday over at Neat Kitchen and Bar. It was very well attended. We have 73 guests there yesterday. I want to take a moment and say thank you to our Mayor, Ron Gunther, to our Village Manager, Cyril, to Assistant Manager and Public Works Director, May, and to Finance Director, Parker, and Community Development Director, Malik, and Communications Director, McIntosh, and Glenn Lilchberg for their help in putting that together. It was a great presentation. And I want to let everybody know that if you couldn't make it yesterday, the presentation now is up on the village website at westmont.illinois.gov. So I encourage you to go there. The content was excellent and the presentation was excellent. So thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, Larry, thanks to the Chamber for allowing and hosting that for us yesterday. So you did a great job. Anybody else under open forum? If not, open forum is closed. Under reports, board reports, the mayor. I've got my first item, Mr. Brendan Connolly of the DuPage Foundation is here for a proclamation. And we want to welcome Mr. Connolly from the DuPage Foundation, who is here tonight to receive a Community Foundation Week proclamation, which we will have Manager Searle read now, and we will vote on it as a technicality later. But I'll allow Manager Searle to go ahead and read it.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Community Foundation Week, November 12th to 18th, 2013. Whereas November 12th to 18th, 2013 is nationally recognized as Community Foundation Week, when citizens across the country celebrate the impact that these crucial charitable organizations have on our communities. And whereas there are more than 700 community foundations in the United States and more than 30 in the state of Illinois, and whereas DuPage County is fortunate to have the DuPage Community Foundation, whose vision is to raise the quality of life throughout DuPage County, and whereas the DuPage Community Foundation's mission is to foster philanthropy, connect donors to area needs, and build community partnerships. And whereas the DuPage Community Foundation has been a valued partner in our community since 1986, helping people achieve their charitable goals and ensuring that funds are available to benefit causes and organizations addressing the needs of our community today and for generations to come. And whereas the DuPage County thanks the DuPage Community Foundation for being an integral community partner and resource, and recognizes the great things that the foundation has done on behalf of our community since 1986. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Ronald J. Gunther, do hereby proclaim November 12th through 18th, 2013 as the DuPage Community Foundation Week in DuPage County, and urge all citizens to support the foundation's mission.
What I'd like to do now is present this to you. If you like to take the opportunity.
Well, on behalf of the foundation, I just really want to thank the Village of Westmont. The Community Foundation's been doing some great work here in DuPage County, and what it's really allowing citizens to do is have a meaningful impact with their charitable dollars here in their local community. And we've seen it from organizations such as right up by Ty Warner Park, the food bank up there, the People's Resources, pads throughout the community, and there's really a very strong impact and tied to the local cities, and we really just want to thank the Village of Westmont. So
And we
very
thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, under my report, I'd like to call Police Chief Mulhern, and since it is Halloween, he's in a different costume.
For those at home, your TV will turn to normal in about 15-20 minutes. Please do not adjust your vertical hold or anything. And if I may direct everyone's attention to the other gentleman in costume in the back of the room.
He's going to be called up next.
Okay, you're on your own, buddy. Last night, I had the distinct honor, and many of the board members as well too, of attending the 100 Club of DuPage County's annual banquet award. And at that award, I had nominated, and he was chosen to receive a Valor Award. Our Sergeant Jim Schlicker from the Westmont Police Department was chosen as the 100 Club's Valor Award recipient for law enforcement. This is all based on his actions of an incident that occurred back on June 1st of 2012. And based on his actions, I nominated him. The DuPage County Chiefs of Police Association chose him to be the recipient. The 100 Club agreed, and last night received that distinguished honor. I was very pleased and honored, and I'm humbled to have been able to have nominated him for this award. And would like to congratulate Jim, and then maybe upcoming board we can have him come here with the awards and receive the recognition. But I just wanted to congratulate him. And also thank the board for your support last night. It was always a moving event, these presentations, and Westmont was represented well. And it was obvious, and I would like to thank everyone who came.
Thank you. And congratulations to Jim. Some of us had the opportunity, most of us had the opportunity to be there, and it is a very solemn event. Now I'd like to call up our fire chief, Dave Weiss. He's going to talk about a little bit about today's rain that we had.
Thanks, Mayor and board. Ema and myself were on the rain from last night, this morning early around 5:30 in the ECC center up in our old dispatch center. And the final report of the day was as of 4:30 today, we had 2.73 inches of rain at our rain gauge at 500 North Cass. And 2.10 of this total occurred in the last 16 hours. Reports of 3 inches of rain and higher had occurred south and west of Westmont in the area of Lamont Road and 75th. We did experience some minor flooding in the area of 63rd and Williams on the south side, but the rainfall only averaged about 0.20 per hour, which made the possibility of major flooding not occur. When we get that half-inch, three-quarter inch, or an inch an hour, that's where we get our flooding because the systems just can't keep up with it. And there was a report of some additional rainfall the rest of the evening, but not to expect more than a tenth or a quarter of an inch. So I think we fared out very good today. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I do have to say, this morning early, our Public Works Department was out policing the streets and sewers for leaves. So they've done a very good job. I'd like to call up Bill Wavack, who is a long-time resident and also a veteran, and I think hopefully he's prepared. He's going to talk and tell us about our Veterans Day program.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And the village board, glad to see you all here, and me too. Well, anyway, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, which is November 11th, at Ty Warner Park, the veterans, there will have a veterans ceremony, and I like to see a lot of people. We usually have a whole bunch of people, and depending on the weather, sometimes it's pretty cool and windy, but we're hoping for nice weather. And that's at the north end of Ty Warner Park. There's a obelisk up there, and it's easy to find. So I wish everybody that can come will be there. Thank you.
Does it start at 11 o'clock, did you say, Bill?
11 o'clock
And
on the 11th
of the
day
day.
of the 11th
The date,
month.
I just wanted to make sure.
11 at 11.
Just think 11.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. And again, that ceremony is run by the American Legion and with help from the members of the VFW, since there's no longer a VFW in the community. I think the only other item I have, of course, is that today is Halloween. And we did get some calls because I think if you heard on the radio, there's some communities, I don't know if it was Indiana or that mentioned they were postponing Halloween and postponing it till tomorrow. But I think the rain kind of subsided a little bit, and we've had our activities continue as we always do. So again, happy Halloween, everybody. And that's all I have, and I'll move over to this side, and I'll ask Trustee Nero if oh, I'm sorry, we're going to go to the clerk first. I'm jumping to the trustees already, all right. We'll ask the clerk. I didn't even...
Well, it's been a very busy October. The first thing I want to remind everybody to do is fall back Sunday on your clocks. Turn them back Sunday per hour, so get that extra hour of sleep. So don't forget to do that Saturday night when you go to bed or early Sunday morning when you go to bed. And I just wanted to remind everybody of the busy October we had. We had a wonderful turnout for the Coffee with the Mayor and the Town Hall meeting at Harvest Restaurant on October 19th. And that night it was followed by Holy Trinity's 75th anniversary, which was very well attended and a very fun time, unless you danced with Jerry and he almost killed me. But it's okay. And then, of course, last week was the trick-or-treat trail and the haunted trail and all that activity. And last night, just like Ron and Tom, we all were very emotionally involved in the ceremony for Jim Slicker, and he so deserved it. He did such a wonderful job on that, and congratulations to Sergeant Slicker on a great job. So, and again, remember to turn those clocks back.
Thank you. Attorney Perez.
I don't have a report. I just wanted to say happy Halloween to everybody.
Thank you. Manager Searle.
Thank you. Just a couple of items. I wanted to mention that we'd like to have a brief executive session to discuss collective bargaining negotiations at the end of the meeting. Also wanted to offer my congratulations to Sergeant Jim Slicker. It was a great event last night. And I want to mention that this organization, the Chiefs will correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I believe it's a national organization, the 100 Club. And this was the county chapter. And it's a great organization, and they often mentioned last night how civilians can help this organization. And aside from the awards that they do and the recognition, is they provide support for fallen members of police and fire departments. So it's a really important organization, and I know if you Google them, they're on Twitter, Facebook, and they have a website, I believe, too. And they were actively soliciting, just public participation in their organization. In fact, you can't correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't be a member if you're a member of a department. You've got to be a non-police, non-sworn civilian person. No, that,
Yeah, you have to be a civilian. It's not a police officer, or you have to be retired or anything like that. And you are correct. They are there for us in our time of need and when our families need them most. Mainly the 100 clubs in Cook County is very popular, but DuPage is growing. Evidence last night, they had over 450 people in attendance last night. They support fallen firefighters and police officers. If we were to be killed in the line of duty, they're there for our families with a monetary donation and any support they can have. And for us, and I'll talk for Chief Weiss, but for us in public safety, that makes us feel a lot better, and our families just knowing that they're going to be taken care of and covered as well. So it's an outstanding organization. They mentioned they have an account on LinkedIn, 100 Club of DuPage County. I think if you probably Google them, you'll be able to find them.
thank you, Chief. The last thing I had then was to ask, we have a representative here from Downers Grove Township Senior Services, Mr. Ralph Beardsley, to give a report to the board on what the township offers in regards to services to support senior citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. My name is Ralph Beardsley, and I'm here again on behalf of the Downers Grove Township Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. I was talking to your person, Patty, with the staff about appearing tonight, and we talked about my maybe coming in costume. And I actually have a small element of costume, which I'll share when I'm done. I'm not going to outdo Spencer, but that's just too much. But at any rate, and I've got Bill Wayback, who of course is the actual chairman of our committee, with me tonight in case I get in trouble or get too confused. But anyway, good to be before you again. I think I was here about a year and a half ago. And what we're doing now is just sort of going around again to the villages, particularly if there's, new mayor in place and new council members and so forth, and just providing a little bit of an update on, what we've been up to, with the Senior Services Advisory Committee. The township, of course, and I'm not saying this because any of you folks wouldn't know it, but this is more for the people out in cable land watching this, because a lot of people don't know what is in the township. The township, of course, is 6 complete communities: Downers Grove, Darien, Westmont, Willowbrook, Hinsdale, and Clarendon Hills, along with portions of Burr Ridge, Woodridge, and a little tiny slice of Lamont. And it's also, of course, unincorporated areas, too. The Senior Citizens Advisory Committee was established 30 years ago now, in 1983. And it's overseen by the Township Board, by the 4 trustees that are on that. We have up to 9 volunteer appointed members. A person who very recently just joined our group, I know is an alumnus from here, Pat Klebanow. Pat just came on board with us. Very happy to have her on. We do have 1 vacancy currently, so we are looking for 1 more person at the moment to round out the group. And we continue to focus on proposing programs to promote self-sufficiency and the well-being of our older residents here in the township. As Hannah Benioff says, who's our senior services coordinator still, and a great one, we're meant to serve as the eyes and ears of the township, trying to let the township board know of what services and programs may be needed, to improve the lives of our seniors. Township office, of course, for anyone who needs to know, is at 4340 Prince Street in Downers Grove, right behind Downers North High School. The general number there is 630-719-6610 and 739-6682, specifically for senior services. And our website is www.dgtownship.com. And in terms of the services that we're involved with for seniors, it continues to be sort of a mixture of a few things that we continue to be involved fairly directly in helping make happen, and then a number of other agencies and so forth, mainly at the county level, that we can, refer people to. The Dial-A-Ride program that we do in conjunction with PACE, of course, is one of our most popular services still. And it's been interesting, last couple of years, that of course serves seniors 65 and up, and also and people with disabilities, and you can register for that at the township office. And it provides for $5 a piece each way, rides to and from, as long as it's within the township. And typically, the last couple of years, we've had about 4,000 trips per year taken on that, which is pretty good volume. This year, based on the mid-year numbers, we're looking like we're going to be at maybe 5,300 trips for 2013. So it's clearly something that's, growing in popularity, continues to be about 70% used by elderly folks, the other 30% by the disabled. The main uses of it continue to be, number one, people use it to go to work. Number two, people use it to go for medical appointments. And this year, the third and fourth uses changed a little bit. Third is people now using it to go to school. Okay, didn't used to be. That's about 13% of the use, at least for the first 6 months of this year. And finally, people, number four was shopping. And if you take a look at those four uses, that's about 80% of what people, take trips for. And again, work is still a little bit over 30%, and the medical piece is about 28% of the use. We continue to have the RTA fare permit program as well, which is another thing people can sign up for at the township office. That also, again, serves both people 65 and up and the disabled, and you just can register for it there at the township. Unlike the Dial-A-Ride program, though, the use of that's been going down some, and was down to about 280 people during 2012 from a little over 300 in 2011. And now this year is looking like, based on the half-year numbers, it might only be about 240 for this year if it keeps going at the same pace. Don't quite know why. I don't know if, less people are using it to go into the city, or if the Ventra program has created some confusion with people, or, a little less desire to use it. But at any rate, the use of that one is down. Vintage Times continues to be a very popular thing we do, with 15-minute monthly programs on cable TV, featuring Hannah Benioff and, different guests of interest for seniors. This month, we've been looking at safety issues for older adults with the help of the Darien Police Department. And in November, we'll be looking at the AARP Safe Driving Program, which is an initiative meant to, try and keep elderly people in good fittle to drive, keep using the roads. And in December, we're going to have a program on skin cancer and skin care. And that's, the program's going to definitely, too, keep rolling right into 2014. It's one of the more popular things we think that we do. Banner newsletter continues to come out. The most recent edition for this year has not come out yet, but this continues to be published 1 or 2 times a year. This was the one from about a year ago, in which we did a very extensive survey of area elderly people, and had a really good survey response to that. We had over 500 people who took the time to fill it out. 95% of them were elderly. We did a follow-up to that, and again, this will probably be coming out again, I would say probably in the springtime. And this goes out to about 5,000 elderly, residents, families, and individuals within the township. And it's also available too on the website. People can look at it on there. Our information and referral program continues to keep going. Again, that's a phone number, 630-719-6682. And there, people can call in, and no such thing as a dumb question. They can kind of leave any old question that they want. We will try to get back to them within 24 to 48 hours, usually. Sometimes Hannah will answer that herself. And it's just meant really to help our seniors find the community resources that they need. If they've got any question about where things are locally here in the township or maybe elsewhere in DuPage County, they can use that as a starting point. And they also offer assistance there for helping people with completing applications for things like license plate discounts, the real estate tax breaks that seniors can be eligible for, and can at least help direct people for where they can go to do legal documents such as living wills, powers of attorney, passport applications, etc. SALT is Seniors and Lawmen Together. We have continued to be very active with that program involving both our local police and fire departments. We've got very good representation here from the people with Westmont, I'm pleased to say, and that's really been kicked into active gear the last year or two. It continues to, collaborate on trying to just educate elderly residents on, safety and crime prevention measures. We still offer the File a Life card, free, or maybe for $1, depends on how they're feeling that day. At the township office, a very good resource to have. It's got a magnetized back that people can just put on a refrigerator or whatever with important information about, who's your physician, what medications are people on, etc. And first responders will tell you that this is really of, very good use in emergency situations if people have put it up. And we've started a speakers bureau this year as well with the SALT group, where people can call and we'll send out speakers to talk to organizations, park districts, and so forth. That's another thing we've gotten going just this year. And finally, we developed something here called the Pocket Pal. And I'll just hit that very briefly. This is a whole directory here of senior-related social services that the township staff always keeps up. They update this about quarterly, all right? And I'll shoot some copies around, but this baby's 13 pages. And it's got marvelous information in it, but you can get lost in it too, all right? So the SALT Council got the idea of putting together a Pocket Pal. And this is simply just a one-page document. I think we've got it on our website in a PDF format. But what this gives people is just sort of the most important numbers, the most popular things for seniors to look at as sort of a ready reference. And we've been basically distributing these now since the summer to kind of any place we can find in the township that we know is frequented by seniors. And thank you, Bill. It's really proven to be a very popular item to this point. And again, this was developed by that SALT Council. And I'll shoot around this encyclopedia here.
Make sure we get them to the trustees first.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So those are some of the primary things that the SALT Council's been up to.
Bob's not old enough.
And other programs we continue to relate and refer people to at the county level, very briefly. With DuPage County Senior Citizen Services, we can tie people into a community care program, which has homemaker and adult day services. And also DuPage County Senior Citizens Council can help people out with home-delivered meals. Small home repairs done at very reasonable rates. And also a senior health insurance program, which is just meant to sort of help steer people through, insurance requirements and so forth, particularly, right now with the changes obviously that are going on in the health insurance world. Okay. Community needs survey was the thing I alluded to, and just want to hit a couple of findings from that was done during 2012. And that was a case of, we had done one in 1999 and hadn't done anything in over a decade, so we did it in the spring of 2012. As I said, we had over 500 usable responses. 54 of them were people from here in Westmont. We were happy with that level of participation. It was over 10% of what we got back. And people's concerns continue to be very strong about safety issues, among our elderly, kind of predictable. Over 30% of people fear going out after dark. A comparable percentage of the people, too, felt that the neighborhood lighting could be better on their streets. 1/3 of people were not comfortable with solicitors coming to their door. There's still about 30% of people not comfortable either with phone solicitations. That number had gone down a lot from the previous survey back in '99, probably due to caller ID and due to the fact that, at least now you can block 800 numbers. But scams on the telephone are still a big problem, and we talk a lot about this at our monthly meetings. Very much out there. Where I live, we've gotten one where we've been hit twice by the same kind of thing. I mean, if you're very aware, you can figure out right away this is bogus. But they still lure people in. And, I would just say generally to people out there, if you get those kind of calls, call the police department. That's what we did. And at least inform them of it so they know what's going on and they can try to start tracking down these people. They are very much out there. People's fears still were most of all being a crime victim, mainly worried about burglaries and theft, were the two things that they came across. And familiarity with services, a lot of people still don't know about the DuPage County Sheriff's Guardian Program. Nearly 2/3 of people had no knowledge of it. And a lot of people, too, don't know about Neighborhood Watch. Nearly half of them had no idea. And about 40% of the folks didn't know either that in a lot of towns, the police department and the fire departments will come to your house, do a free inspection, survey, try and help you out, too, with safety features. Would be better if more folks, knew about that. Finally, last point, we have recently, too, set up a 501c3. Okay, we filed the papers and got the approval back in the winter from the Secretary of State. It's called Friends for Downers Grove Township Senior Citizens. And it's like a lot of the school boards have done, of course. They've set up these 501c3s, too, to try and raise additional money for educational purposes. We're just getting this started. It'll eventually be aimed at, trying to raise more funds here for, for seniors with our budget. You can go to York Township and see a senior center there that'll knock your eyeballs out. But that's the kind of thing you can have when you've got Yorktown or when you got the Oak Brook Mall in your tax base. It's a little different than, what we have here and what we have to work with. So we have set this up trying to, start to raise some money. We're just forming a board and so forth. And you're going to be hearing more about that in the future, hopefully in 2014. Finally, this is just a synopsis here of the comments we had from Westmont citizens, about 10 or so who, did take the time to fill out our survey, and provide us with some feedback on that score. I'd be pleased now, any questions for myself or for Chairman Bill? Anybody?
I do have to tell you that our senior center utilizes a lot of your services. We provide a lot ourselves right here in Westmont, but a lot of times we'll refer them on to the township for additional services because you guys got a very extensive offering for seniors in this township. So, and again, I know you're working with all the communities, and I've seen it firsthand, and I think there's a growing need for a lot of your services. So we thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I know Bill, he's awake. All right. But no, I know it's all volunteer time and really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Bill Swanston and put him in contact with the people that do the Neighbors Magazine, thinking that perhaps there could be some communication to get out to at least our area. And perhaps other towns that the township covers would have a similar, publication.
Right.
Because the services are wonderful, and it's getting the word out that the services are there.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
That's really like our first mission. It is. You can never do enough of it. So
Yeah.
that's good.
You guys do a great job.
Thank you very much.
Again, thank you. It's
Anybody else?
very informative. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
super.
Now my costume. I'm originally from Arlington, Massachusetts. Okay? So, yesterday was a great day.
Very good, very good.
Just wanted to say. Boston
I don't
Storm.
blame you for doing that. So. And the ring, were you part of a World Series or a?
No, this is Boston Bruins 2011 Stanley Cup.
I knew it was something
Yeah.
with sports, so okay.
We didn't win the Stanley Cup this year, though.
No, we didn't.
Some other team edged us out.
But again, thank
Hit
you.
a better conclusion last night.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Congratulations. All right.
Very good.
Clerk Simsky had one more item.
Sorry about that, but every year we do the annual winter coat drive, and we need gently used coats or new coats, sizes infant to adult, and they can be dropped off, and the collecting is going on now through November 29th, and you can bring your coats to the Village Hall, the police station, the Westmont Fire Department, or the Westmont Park District Community Center. So please, if you have any coats you aren't using or you don't know what else to do with them, donate them to this needy cause. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Manager Searle, did you have anything else?
No, I did not. Thank you.
Now we'll go to the trustees. Trustees Nero.
The only thing I want to do is just add a congratulatory note to Jim Slicker. Well-deserved. It was a great event, and congratulations. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Barker.
Shout out to Jim also, and then two items. Westmont First has a couple of things coming up. The first one is a leaf raking event that we're doing in conjunction with the Rotary Club and a couple other organizations in town here. That's November 9th. We are going to meet here at Village Hall at 9 a.m. and then go out and help some of the people in town that need leaves removed from their yard. And they can register at the village website. That's up there on westmontfirst.com. If they need help or if they'd like to volunteer with that, we're happy to have them. And then also our meeting of Westmont First Committee of the Whole, I'm calling it November 20th, right here. I think we're in the executive session room, but Westmont First meeting on November 20th at 7 p.m. And we're looking forward to that as well. Thank you.
Trustee Seneca.
Thank you. Just to echo everyone's comments on Sergeant Schlicker. Jim, you make Westmont proud, so thank you for everything you do, and to all the police and fire for that matter. Also wanted to mention that Marker School District 60 will have their town hall meeting on November 4th at 7 o'clock, and that will be held at Westview Middle School, which is here in Westmont. And also, on the same note, Westview Hills Middle School has 16 students that were selected to attend the IEMA, which is the Illinois Music Association, Education Association District 1 Festival on November 9th. It's going to be held at Riverside Brookfield High School. They actually competed with about 1,200 other students this fall, and 300 were chosen, 16 of which are from our school right here in Westmont. So congratulations to those kids, and you too make Westmont very proud. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Barrett.
I will not be at next 2 weeks Village Board meeting. I also wanted to congratulate Sergeant Slicker, and I wanted to wish everyone a happy Halloween and safe and slow down for the kids and all that fun stuff. So that's all I have this evening.
Thank you.
You'll miss the next two, did you say? Next one?
The one in 2 weeks, the
The
14th,
November
and there's
14th.
also a
Public Works
prior to that I'll be
Okay.
gone for the whole thing.
Trustee Addington.
Just a couple of things. Again, congratulations to Sergeant Slicker. Also want to say congratulations also for Harvest Restaurant. I thought they were just tremendous hosts for us that day. Stormwater, again, Steve, that was the most, if anybody has not had the opportunity to see that session, because I know it was televised and it's being rerun, please watch that. There was so much information. and the Green Initiative and some of the other things. It was just a phenomenal informational night, and I think Steve Nero has us on our way with doing something to help with some of the stormwater issues in this town. And but just congratulations to you and your committee. They did a wonderful job. And lastly, I guess this is more of a promotion for the Lions Club, but also Holidays, that starts here in another couple of weeks. And part of the kickoff, of course, is the parade, which is on a different day. So everybody, please look at your calendars and know that some of the days have been changed around from Fridays to Saturdays. But Sunday, November 24th, is tree decoration and Lions Club pancake breakfast. So we don't want anybody to miss out on pancakes. And that's it.
Thank you. Trustee Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. It's fall, which means it's the Westmont High School theatrical production, the play. It's going to be this Saturday and Sunday, 7 o'clock on Saturday, 2 o'clock on Sunday. They're going to have 2 one-hour plays. One's going to be Aladdin, and the other one's going to be Alice in Wonderland. So I encourage everyone to go to it. They're always a good time, and they do a great job. And then next week, November 6th, Wednesday, 9 a.m. here at the Village Hall, we're going to have an Economic Development Committee meeting. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 6 is items to be removed from the consent agenda. Are there any board members that would requesting that items be removed from the consent agenda? If not, we've already read the proclamation. I'll ask Manager Searle to please read. I know that there's one change that Police Chief Mulhern, I guess you want him to mention a change first before you read it? The times?
This is for the holidays? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the holidays, as Trustee Addington mentioned, is moving from Fridays to Saturdays. There's one thing we wanted to get, that the 5K race for the Westmont Rotary will begin at 9 a.m. The prep and everything will be from 6:30 to 9. The start of the parade will be at 5 p.m., 5 o'clock in the evening, and then the tree lighting ceremony will begin at 6 p.m. And again, that's on Saturday, November 30th. We had traditionally done it on Friday. We're moving this way to get better attendance.
Thank you. Manager Searle.
Thank you. The following items are on the consent agenda. Under community events, we have 2013 Westmont Holidays, as we were just talking about, celebration. Board to consider a motion approving the following requests for the Westmont 2013 Holidays celebration. Number 1 point is permit amplified sound in the downtown district near Westmont Center on November 30th from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. for the Holidays opening ceremony. Close the first block of West Quincy on November 30th from 12 p.m. until 9 p.m. For the Holidays opening ceremony, and close a section of Cass Avenue from Trobby to 55th Street on November 30th from 4:45 p.m. to 7 p.m. for the Frosty and Friends Night Parade, and close off sections of several streets between Burlington Avenue and Trobby west of Cass Avenue on November 30th from 7 a.m. until 10 a.m. For the Holidays 5K family run walk. And the background on this is the Westmont Holidays is the 19th annual Winter Festival. The requests from the Holidays Committee have not changed from previous years. That was the reason for it being on the consent agenda. And the village is a full partner in the Holidays Committee. Next item we have is the Village Board minutes. Board to consider approving the minutes for the Village Board meeting held October 17, 2013, the Coffee with the Mayor Town Hall meeting held on October 19th, 2013, and the special meeting held on October 24th, 2013. Next, we have the finance ordinance in the amount of $643,839.48, and we have one purchase order, PO 11032043, in the amount of $13,285 for HD Supply Waterworks. The total of purchase orders and the finance ordinance is $657,124.48. Next, we have the, as we previously read, the National Community Foundation Week proclamation, which is the last item on the consent agenda.
Any questions? A motion to approve the consent agenda as read. Is that
Motion to approve Addington.
Second, Scott.
Motion made and second. Any questions from the board or anybody in the audience? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. There isn't any, so we'll move on to the new business. A, 128 South Cass Avenue, special uses. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following request from Robert Sanoa, the property owner, and Teresa Johnson, the tenant, to allow for the operation of an attorney office, dance studio, and specialty classes in one tenant space at different times on the ground floor in the B1 Limited Business District. 1, a special use permit, and 2, a development permit. Manager Searle.
The background on this is applicant requests to operate an attorney office on the ground floor during typical business hours through the week, and to then operate a dance studio, language, and legal school after the office closes until 9 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The private parking lot is adjacent to it is available for the tenant space and meets the applicant's parking requirements, and it will fill a vacant storefront. The commission clarified number of students to be a maximum of 14 in order to eliminate any parking concerns, and the commission also voted unanimously in favor of this.
And we have the, I would imagine, the tenant.
Yes, I'm Teresa Johnson.
Would you like to add anything to this?
No, but I'd be happy to entertain questions if you have any. I realize it's rather novel.
Unusual combination.
Yes.
I don't have any problems.
Well, then,
I'm just curious, what kind of dance?
Well, I'm trained in almost all the general expected areas of dance, jazz, tap, ballet, etc. However, the specialty for me is interpretive dance, interpretive, inspirational and religious music, mostly working with words as opposed to working with beats, but using different dance mediums to portray the meanings of songs as opposed to just dancing to rhythms.
entertain a motion?
I had the opportunity to look at the building, and I think that it has unique opportunities for you. It doesn't fit a lot of businesses, so I think that this would be a nice fit for you. And I talked to the adjoining neighbor, and she's in favor of this as far as the haircut place. So.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to approve?
Second, Seneca. Oh,
Motion's been made and seconded to approve as presented. Any questions? On the board, anybody in the audience? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes. Well, congratulations, good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
New business B, 209 East, that's my address, 209 East Ogden Avenue. Now everybody knows where I live. 209 East Ogden Avenue, Ogden Lincoln Special Uses and Variance Request. Board to consider ordinances approving the following request from Mark Iozzo of Ogden Lincoln to operate an automobile dealership and use automobile sales in the B2 General Business District. 1, special use permit to operate an automobile dealership. 2, a special use permit to allow the sale of used automobiles. 3, variance to permit the sale of used automobiles within 500 feet of a resident district. And 4, variance to permit parking in the required front yard setback. Manager Searle.
The background on this is applicant requests to operate at 209 East Ogden, the former Lamborghini dealership, to temporarily sell Lincoln automobiles while the 100 West Ogden Lincoln dealer is being rebuilt. The lot would ultimately then be used for various used automobile sales. The village board has historically preferred new auto dealerships on Ogden Avenue and typically has not approved standalone used car sales. Staff has requested from the applicant a detailed business plan and commitment in writing from the corporate Lincoln headquarters. And following a more detailed explanation of the proposed timing of the business plan for 209 East Ogden, the Planning and Zoning Commission made a unanimous favorable recommendation for the special uses and variance.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Questions, or what can I tell you?
Well, if you want to give a little bit more detailed information, or
Okay.
we'll just go for the question.
Well, I'll give you do you guys all have a copy of the correspondence that's gone back and forth in planning and zoning? Okay. So, the plan is to immediately sell certified pre-owned Lincolns out of the 209 East Ogden building. And then I'll be coming back in front of planning and zoning on the board in December with plans to remodel the property located at 100 West Ogden, which is the current Lincoln facility. And at that point, we'd like to move all of the sales facility into 209 East Ogden except for service. So these are some, not sure if I can get this to fit. Oh, thank you. So this is what the front of the 100 West Ogden building will look like. And I have some floor plans, which are just basic floor plans, but, and in my letter to Shannon, just to cite a few of the positives, Lincoln has really gotten heavily involved in the certified pre-owned business. It's been around for a number of years. Lexus and the likes have done a great job, and Lincoln has finally jumped in with both feet. So doing a very nice job. It's been a big part of our business, and our sales are, up large in percentage over what they've been in the past years. The Lincoln business is good, getting better. We're ahead of last year by about 7%, and very excited to embrace what the Ford Motor Company is doing with Lincoln. Ford has had tremendous success over the past, 4 or 5 years, and they're now sinking a ton of money into Lincoln, and very excited to be a Lincoln dealer and to expand our business.
Any questions? Anybody from the audience have any questions?
Well, I guess one of the questions is, so then the old Lamborghini dealership is going to be the used car end of it when it's all said and done.
Right. And as I stated, planning and zoning, I mean, I'd love to get a franchise to come to Westmont. It's just that it's just very difficult with state franchise laws. It's almost impossible at this point. But I shouldn't say almost impossible is the key word. It's not out of the question, but it's tough. Tough to get someone to move because you encroach on other franchises when you can only move so far, but then you have to be so far away. So it's kind of a catch-22.
And so what kind of cars are we going to have up there?
Certified pre-owned Lincolns will be the majority of it.
Will that be it? Okay.
And then inside, so just for information, certified cars can only go back current year minus 5 years. So right now, all we can certify are 09s and newer with less than 60,000 miles. So, probably cars that are going to be in the $20,000 to $40,000 range. And then inside, if you guys have been in the building, I know a lot of you have, we'll have luxury cars, sports cars, like we've had all along.
I see on this building here, there will be no glass at the west end of the building, at the 100?
This...
Is that a brick? I'm looking up on the
this
top
is west,
picture
right?
there.
Okay.
Go up higher than that, right there. Is that going to be glass? Right below?
No, this is aluminum side.
That's the one where the glass usually gets broke all the time.
The one that's broke all the time is right here.
Oh, okay. And you're going to make it glass again?
$3,300 to fix it. Well, the good news is that these panels, as we've gotten smarter over the years, we make these panels smaller the glass
So
panels.
you're not breaking the big piece anymore.
Right, instead of breaking one big piece, you break a small piece, right, exactly.
And I guess the other issue I just want to make sure of is on-site parking for employees. We see what we have with your neighbors, possible neighbors, with on-street parking with their employees encroaching
Oh,
into
with
the
Porsche, you mean?
neighborhoods. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Well, we have 5 parking spots cut out in back for employees. And we certainly, I mean, we run back and forth between both buildings, you know, with great frequency. So, we're not going to park on the street at this. Is that what you're asking?
Well, that's what I'm asking,
No.
because, when Porsche came before us originally, they said they'd have no more than 50 cars on the parking lot. We say that's not
They have more than
exactly
50,
true.
yes, they do. No,
And that there would be plenty of parking, and there's no place for their employees to park except for in the neighborhoods.
right. No,
And
we
then
won't-
adding the dealer again now to it, we just want to make sure that that doesn't
Yeah,
create
no,
more hardship
our
for the
employees,
neighbors.
I mean, and going back to the Lamborghini days, our employees never parked on the street. So, no, there will not be any employees parking on the street.
I think that has to be
Part of this.
part of this deal.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mark, I think you're being a little unfair to your family.
In there as a special.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the oldest Lincoln Mercury dealership in DuPage County and one of the oldest car dealerships.
That's one of the oldest Lincoln dealers in the country, actually. We
Yeah.
were just awarded, next year's our 60th year, so.
Is that right?
We were there's a guy in Iowa who's been doing it for like, I want to say 78 years, but definitely the oldest in DuPage County, for sure.
They've been there a long time and have been good neighbors to this community and to a lot of
Thank you.
things in Westmont, so.
I would just, again, as Jim has said, you know, you and your family have been a great asset to the community and look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I have a question, I think, for the attorney. When it says, you know, you said certified cars, and that only goes back a few years, but if you, being new at this, if you grant a dealership like this for the used cars, and it says various cars, should say certified cars, so that it doesn't change, you know, and we're talking about Lincolns and Fords.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can add that language to say certified used cars.
Well, if that's the intent.
Well, it's not, I mean, truthfully, I mean, not that, I mean, I just sold a $500,000 Lamborghini out of that, you know, it was on the showroom floor there for the last 3 weeks, you may have seen it. And, I mean, there's no way that could be a certified, I can only certify all Lincolns that are less than 5 years old, and the way Ford has it structured, I can certify certain Fords. So I can certify an Explorer, but I can't certify an Escape. Why that is, I can't really tell you, but that's just the way it is.
Wouldn't that be consistent with the other dealerships? I mean, if Oak Brook Toyota is selling a Lexus, it's not a certified used Lexus. It's only the Toyotas would be certified through that.
But that's their ancillary business.
Yeah.
That's not the main part of their business. So what we want to make sure is that this stays with the top quality of cars to match the rest of Ogden Avenue, and it doesn't go to Western Avenue.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what-
Right, that's my-
exactly.
That's it in a nutshell.
Those are my exact words at planning and zoning. I mean, I use the term Western Avenue at planning and zoning, and we don't, that's not our business. I mean,
Right, right, no, I understand that,
Yeah.
but do they have the ability to change to whatever? That's,
I mean, if we put the word certified used
Well,
automobiles,
but-
that's only gonna allow it to do the Lincoln, so is that
Right,
all
which
we're
that isn't gonna work
want
for
him to
him.
do?
No, that
I
won't
think we
work
have
for
to just,
him.
however you do it, it has to show the intent that we don't want it to go the other direction. We want top quality cars in
Well,
there.
Could we say Lincolns and Fords no older than 5 years?
Well, you can't do that because let's say they get a classic that comes in there that's worth
Okay.
$30 or $40, $50,000 that you would want sold there.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. Well, we just don't want it to go to the low end.
Exactly.
I don't know how you word that, but it's something we've got to look at, so. It protects the neighbors.
Yeah.
It protects the integrity of Ogden Avenue,
Right,
which is what we already have now.
And we have always stood fast about not having used car dealerships.
you could, I mean,
And this is what this is, right at this point.
yeah, maybe a suggestion, maybe no cars less than $10,000. Is that a,
That would keep it in a high level.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah,
bad
that-
idea.
that's good.
I'm okay with
The
that.
one concern that I guess I would have, I wasn't
that
on the board when the Porsche was approved and so forth, but to hear that they were only allowed 50 cars, and they're
No,
way over.
That's what they told us they were gonna bring in.
Okay.
Right.
So to have these things, how do we, to put them in there is great, but are we gonna enforce them, I guess, is the question, and how do we enforce that? And if it's gonna limit Mr. Iozzo, then is it worthwhile to go through that at this point?
I just talked to the attorney, and the motion, whenever we make the motion, is going to include that there will not be any employee parking on public streets. And we can do that and make that part of the approval.
Right. And that's,
So
we don't
unlike
have
when the
problem with
Porsche,
that.
I don't think we just took their
Well,
word
we
for
took
it.
their word for it. That's exactly what happened. And if he can keep all those employees on there and get a ton of cars in there and sell them, good for him.
We only have.
The issue is we don't want the cars on the street.
But we're not contiguous to the street, which is a big difference, obviously, I guess, it would seem like.
Yeah, they're not on the corner.
Right.
That's a big difference.
And again, I like that, we can also add the
I think
$10,000
that's a great
amount
solution.
into the motion,
And
so.
that keeps it upscale, yeah.
Yeah.
How am I ever gonna get a car there? That's not gonna be.
We want you to sell a lot of cars.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Any questions from the public? While we're, Jill, do you have anything to add?
No, the board raised many of the same concerns that the Planning and Zoning Commission had, and Mr. Iozzo was very helpful in clarifying what the intent was to be, so.
So then, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the 4 special use and variances that were read, along with no car under the value of $10,000 be added to it, as well as no employee parking on public right-of-way.
Remember, we can do it all as one motion?
And it's gotta be done as,
There are 4 separate
Four separate.
We have to-
ordinances, so we need 4.
Where do you add the?
The two.
The language, the two language.
At this point, it looks like we're doing it under the, both the new and the used car ordinances that we have prepared. We have, well, in the used car specifically, we would talk about the no less than $10,000, not in the new car necessarily. But in both of them, I would include additional language indicating no employee parking on residential or public streets in the area. And just
Both
for-
1 and 2.
On both 1 and 2. And just for your clarification as well, since I know trustee Berry had asked, how do we enforce this sort of thing? One of the other special conditions states that upon a violation of these special conditions, the village shall provide notice to the applicant with a reasonable time to cure the violation. In the event that applicant fails to timely cure the violation, or in the event there are a total of 3 separate incidences of violations by applicant of these special conditions, the village board shall hold a hearing upon notice to applicant and an opportunity for applicant to be heard to determine whether the special use permit should be revoked. So the village board actually, if there are 3 violations, gets the opportunity to make the determination as to whether or not they want to continue to allow this. Specifically, the one I was reading from is the used car sales, but to allow that to continue.
Then I will make motion for the special use permit to operate the automobile dealership with the 2 additions being no employee street parking and no cars below the $10,000 value.
Okay. There are 2 other ordinances. I don't know if we wanted to make those motions separately. That was for the, to allow the automobile sales dealership within 500 feet of a residential district.
Should we just do
Do we have to amend the motions? I thought we just put it in the ordinance. We have 4 separate ordinances. Do we
Right.
have to amend the motion to say no on-street parking, no,
Yeah,
We
Which is
don't
what
have
we
to
just,
amend the motion, do we?
no,
Okay,
no.
that's what
I just didn't know if he was going to be requesting to move for all 4 of them, or just,
Well, I thought we were going to do them one at a
Change.
time.
okay, that's fine.
That was my question, can we do it all at once? But sometimes on these, maybe it's just easier to do them one at a time.
That's fine, that's fine.
That was
Because we
one of
have
my
4
comments
separate
here.
ordinances, right?
Being new at
There's
this,
4
I know
ordinances.
in previous meetings, we've done it all as a group, and so I'm going to learn here when, depends when Anne Marie sits next to us or John.
when John writes them up, John writes them up, if it says
John
ordinance.
asked me to do 4 this time instead of just the 1.
That's what I said, so, but there has been a motion, is there a second?
Second,
Did I hear
Nero.
a second? To approve the number 1 special use permit to operate the automobile dealership with the two additional, no cars valued under 10,000 and no employee parking on the public streets. On the question, roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Then I will make a motion to approve the second special use permit to allow the sale of used automobiles, again, with no employee parking on the street and the value of the cars to be above $10,000.
Second, Nero.
Motion's been made and seconded. On the question, seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Anybody? Well, Jim, you're on a roll.
Keep going.
Yeah,
You
okay,
got it.
then. And on number 3, do we want to we want to add both of these on, these additions in each one of the 4?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
so, especially
So-
because the one is within 500 feet of the residential, and that would make sense for the parking. And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, I will make a motion to approve a variance to permit the sale of used automobiles within 500 feet of a residential district, no employee street parking, and value of automobiles to be above $10,000.
Second, Nero.
Motion's been seconded. On the question, roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
And then number 4, I will make a motion to approve a variance to permit parking in the required front yard setback. Again, no street parking for employees and no sales of used automobiles below $10,000.
Second, Nero.
Motion been made and seconded. On the question, roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next month.
Okay.
That's 2 months. Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Agenda item C, 470 to 500 East Ogden Avenue, the Lexus Special Use and Variance Request. Board to consider ordinances approving the following request from McGrath Lexus of Westmont to operate an existing automobile dealership in the B2 General Business District with a cosmetic repair center that includes painting and body and fender work. 1, special use permit. 2, variance to permit the cosmetic repair center within 500 feet of a residence district. Manager, sir.
Thank you. The applicant, as stated, requests to operate an indoor cosmetic repair center with limited painting and body and fender work within an existing automobile dealership building. This requires special use and variance to be located within the 500 feet of the residence district. There are questions from the residential neighbors at the Plan Commission regarding hours of operation, number of employees, potential for paint fumes, equipment location, noise, type, and amount of repair work and length of repair time were addressed at the public hearing. Applicant confirmed operations will be conducted solely indoors with no increase in building size. Special use and variance requests received a unanimous vote from the Planning and Zoning Commission after they recommend a list of conditions to be included in the ordinance.
Hi, my name is Bill Buckley, and sorry to bring the Seattle rain to your neighborhood, but after 34 years in St. Louis, I was really happy to see another Steak and Shake, so I'm happy to be here. Is there any way to blow that up a little bit? How do you make that? Will that get any bigger than that or not?
They'll do it in the control room, I think.
Just feel
There you
it?
go. It's magic. They did it.
Just ask.
I don't want to break anything. Anyway, I work with Dent Wizard, and Dent Wizard is the world's largest automobile reconditioning company. More specifically, my title is the Mint Cosmetic Reconditioning Project Manager, and that entails managing our top-line program, which is the Mint Cosmetic Reconditioning Program, which is typically a on-site quick repair reconditioning centers inside large dealerships and most of the time large luxury dealerships. And one of our customers who was referred by Lexus of Bellevue out in Washington, which is about the 5th largest Lexus store in the country, is McGrath Lexus. And so we ventured out here and talked to them and showed them all the benefits of a cosmetic reconditioning center, what it can do for their customers, what it can do for their pre-owned reconditioning, how it can contain it, streamline it, make it faster, keep the cars moving and on site rather than driving up and down the street to detail shops, body shops, and places like that. So anyway, at the first meeting, we got a little bit sidetracked with a lot of issues that weren't really pertaining to the Mint Cosmetic Reconditioning Program special use that we're talking about, and some of those regarding the Toyota store and lighting in the back of the dealership and some shrubbery and some things like that. I've got Mr. Christensen here from McGrath Lexus. I'll let him talk in a little bit. Some strides have been made to keep the folks in the condominiums behind there happy with their neighboring dealership, and I think some of it was a little bit of miscommunication that they actually didn't know that there was some of these problems, but some of them have been solved and some of them are in the works, so that's good. I kind of knew at the last meeting that going into this, as soon as the neighbors would be notified that a paint booth and spray painting were even mentioned, that they were going to jump right to the dreaded body shop with noise and wrecked cars. And I think what I did, and I'll try to run through it quicker this time, was to differentiate, which this permit does by definition. I want to differentiate what Mint Cosmetic Reconditioning is versus a body shop. So the Mint Cosmetic Reconditioning Center, it focuses on smaller repairs, and those repairs are paintless dent repair, which is massaging dents out without having to do any body work or painting, bumper scuff refinishing, alloy wheel refinishing, interior repairs, and spot panel repairs, which would be a key scratch or something like that. The Mint program kind of stops where the body shop takes over. We don't do any complete paint jobs. We don't do any major collision repairs. We don't have any welders. We don't have any frame machines. We don't have heavy equipment. We don't make a bunch of noise. And we, like I said, we don't do any collision work. If it needs to be sent to, if it's been an accident per se, the vehicle has to go to a regular body shop. Most jobs are completed the same day. And a couple things that does. It streamlines the turnaround time for used cars, which makes the dealership more profitable and generates more revenue. And when you have this on site, you can also, right now they're taking their cars for a bumper repair down to a body shop, running them up and down the street, taking them outside to a detail shop, bringing them back. The interior guy does work outside. Some mobile wheel repair might be done outside on the premises. And so this, I think, bringing all this stuff inside the building is a plus in this situation. I think on this here, this is some things here I circled, which are, we're the world leader in paintless dent removal, 20 years experience. Mint is a cosmetic reconditioning. It's eco-friendly. I'll get into that in a minute. It's non-interruptive to service. It enhances customer retention to the dealership. It makes the dealership a little more well-rounded place to shop when you come in with your vehicle. One of the reasons that this has to be on site, and the key to why this program that I actually developed is successful, is that when you bring your car in for service and they notice, you scraped your bumper on that pillar going into the airport, would you like that repaired? Well, yeah, I'd like it repaired, but there's some things I don't want. I don't want an insurance claim. I don't want to be without the car for 4 or 5 days. But if you could get that done while your car's in here for service today, would you be interested in that? Especially if it was at probably a lesser cost than a body shop and without an insurance claim and a deductible and raising your rates and all that. The answer typically is, for 10% of those customers that are offered, it is yes, I'd love that service. And so we take the bumper off the car The car goes through its 4 hours worth of service, whether it's a major service, oil change, transmission, whatever it might be. And while the car is getting its other McGrath services done, we paint the bumper. At the end of the day, those two go back together and the customer's happy, he drives on his way. Same with wheels. We take the wheels off the car. Here's a picture just of a guys doing the work inside a contained paint booth. We take the wheels off the car. We either leave the car up on the rack with no wheels on it and refinish those wheels while they're doing the other service, or we put loaner wheels on there so the car can still roll around the inside of the dealership and get its other repairs done. So it's pretty difficult, obviously, to drive a car with no wheels on it. So that's one thing. And then taking a car up and down the street with no bumper on it's illegal. So these are reasons, and plus the timing to get it done same day and have this without another additional loaner car and expense to the dealership. If you have to take it off site to a separate location, you lose that couple hours that it takes it to get this repair done quickly. There's a typical bumper scuff getting repaired. Here's a gentleman putting on a set of loaner wheels. We paint them this color so that they're identifiable. We have had at the other Lexus store, the car wash guys power washed all the white paint off there, and the customer took off anyway. But here's a menu of Mint services, which real quickly is just what I described earlier: the paintless dent repair, the side bumper, the partial bumper, which is just a corner, small painted areas, wheel repair, headlight brightening. So as you see, there's nothing on there that talks about collision work or anything like that. So the equipment. The equipment that we use to produce the highest quality and what the customers at a Lexus store would demand is the best in the business. It's Global Finishing Solutions, Performer Series paint booths. It's triple filtered to 99.7% of any particulates going out into the air. I mean, it's just the best in the business. And this is, once again, self-contained inside the service center. And, I think everybody has to understand, if we're going to be doing this type of work within 10 to 20 to 30 to 100 feet of all their employees inside, they're not going to allow paint smells and people wanting to go home because they have a headache because it smells like lacquer thinner in there. That's not going to happen. We do, in this location, we're going to put a Eurovac dust collection system because it is right there in their service center, which means when you sand the corner of a bumper, the dust from that is collected and taken into a vacuum. It's kind of a jumbo vacuum cleaner is what it is. And then it has a mixer room, which contains all the paints and all the materials for doing this refinishing. A couple of shops, there's one at the Lexa Bellevue, so you have your mechanical room, your paint booth, and 4 or 5 prep stalls. This one is one in New York, which once again you have your paint booth, your mix room, and then prep stalls. This is the other end of that one. This is another one in Washington. Once again, just a paint booth, a mix room, and a prep area. As you can see, none of them, there's no frame machines or heavy equipment in there. This is the proposed McGrath Lexus site. Once again, this is right inside the door coming in here. And there's the paint area on one side, and then the prep area is on the other, and all those little lines going down is the vacuum system. I'm trying to move fast here. The coatings we use, PPG water-based, Enviro-based paints, that's the lowest VOCs of any paint line. It's a water-based paint. It's compliant in every region of the United States. It's 100% latex. I think I left my can of paint here last time I was here at the last meeting, but I looked around the parking lot. It was a purple shade, and there's no cars out there that are purple, so nobody's used it. But this paint is great. I mean, it has absolutely no smell to it. The only paint that we use that has a solvent base is the clear coat, and that's soon to be available in a water-based finish, in a water-based paint also. So the Enviro-Base is preferred by Lexus in North America, and I think that's the important thing. People always say they think of a body shop and they smell and dirt and fumes and all these things, and that's one thing we don't have. I had the folks from a BMW store in Port Chester fly to Seattle to smell our paint area, and they couldn't smell anything. I said, well, tell the guy to spray something, and he's in there. He's spraying right now. I don't believe he's spraying, so one guy was inside with a cell phone in the paint booth, the other guy's outside, and they're sniffing around, and so it was just that, I understand how particular people are with these types of situations. On site, I talked about this, bumpers removed, we don't have any additional vehicles or parking, probably less because we've got less mobile units coming to do work. The potential revenues to the dealership is about $750,000 annually. That's based off of our pro forma that we know from other stores and other people that are on this program. And it's not really feasible off-site. Here's a quick picture of the mix room, which has all the water-based paints and toners in there. These little bottles down here, the good thing is when you mix this water-based paint, you don't have any waste because these things are like baby bottles. When you mix one color, you can save those paints, and they've got a shelf life of about 6 months. So sooner or later, oh, there it is. Where'd you find that?
Found your paint.
If anybody, I'm not going to drink it, but if anybody wants to smell this stuff, it absolutely has no smell to it at all. I'm trying not to ruin my shirt like I did last meeting. Let's see. So the special use recap, it's not detrimental to the public in any way, shape, or form. It's not injurious to the neighboring properties. Matter of fact, there's a Westmont Body Shop is a lot closer than this facility that probably does 50 times the amount of painting in a day than we would ever do. I'm guessing at that. I don't have the statistics on that. There's really no impact of normal development in nearby properties, no added utilities. The utilities for the electric, which this doesn't take much, and the gas, because it's a heated paint booth, are right there on the site within about 20 feet inside the building, so we won't have to worry about any added utilities. No effect on the traffic, probably eases traffic because less cars will be running up and down to the detail shop and the paint shop that they are right now. And we will conform to all the regulations for the state of Illinois, the EPA, whatever local requirements you have and the fire marshal has. We're very familiar with what it takes to be compliant. I think the other items were really, I did bring one of the neighbors wanted to know if this thing had ever been approved in California, and I brought some permits to construct from South Coast Air Quality Management for Newport Lexus, which is right in downtown Newport Beach. A stone's throw from condominiums and office buildings, and it was approved there. Westchester was in New York, very difficult to get a permit there, but so this is not something new, and we're not trying to disguise a body shop, and I think that was what people thought we were going to do. And I really appreciate the fact that the committee came up with the ideas, which I'm all for. Same thing that Port Chester, New York did in Westchester County. They limited us to what we can do. Nope, you can't paint a full car. You can't do collision work. It's limited to cosmetic repairs, and we're all for that because that's what this program is. I think that's about it. I'd love to answer any questions, and then Tom might want to step up and say a few words about what efforts that the dealership has made to calm some of the complaints of the neighbors over there. And like I said, I don't know, they're not really pertaining to this, but I think it's all good to know. So.
All right, I don't know if Jill has anything to add. We'll allow her an opportunity.
Just a couple quick comments. The board has been provided with the draft ordinance that lists the conditions that were recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Those include limiting the scope of minor repairs and paint, meeting emission standards, clarifying the hours of operation, and including a dispute resolution process, which we talked about with the previous agenda item as well. The homeowners that spoke at the public hearing have asked that all of these conditions be included in the ordinance. In addition, Lexus has told staff that additional trees will be planted in the rear of their lot, and they will adjust the lighting levels in the rear to help the neighbors that live to the north, particularly in the evening. And there are 2 representatives from Citadel that will probably want to speak as well.
So any more questions that I can ask more on the technical side of things?
I think what I'll do is I'll open it up to the audience, if you'd like to come up and address this agenda item.
Good evening. My name is Gabriella Comstock. I'm with Keough and Moody, and we represent the Citadel on the Pond Townhome Owners Association. And as you may know from the Planning and Zoning meeting, there were quite a few owners who were in attendance at that meeting, and they did have quite a bit to say, a lot of concerns. And I am happy to say that I have met with Mr. Christensen of McGrath Lexus, and we have had some discussions, and I don't mean to speak for him, but I do think there has been progress in the two parties working together, and I don't know that that's really relevant for today. But more importantly, as it relates to what you're considering today, as you know, the association had some very big concerns and wasn't in favor of what is being proposed. However, a lot of those concerns, in fact, I believe all of those concerns, are addressed if the ordinance as drafted is approved. That is with those conditions. Those conditions are what really give the association the comfort level that it's necessary for those residents. And our request is just simply, if you're going to go forward with this request, please to include all of those conditions as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address it from the audience? If not, board.
So just so I know, this is 100% service. There are no sales or parts that would be sold to the people. It's going to be 100% service?
It's all service customer cars and inventory vehicles, so same thing as on site. No outside new signage, it's not.
No. What I'm looking at is that there's no retail sales tax for us out of this. I'm just making sure that when you're going to be doing a car, it's not new parts that are be coming in and it gets charged, or is it?
I'm sorry, there is. To a degree, if you come in and your bumper is damaged, and we're going to repair the bumper, and we take it out and we find out that it's cracked beyond repairability, at that point, the part that would sold would come from our parts department, go on a repair order and be a taxable item.
Okay.
Most of it would be labor issues, but there are some parts that would come in. Or if a wheel's going to be repaired and it's beyond repair, we have to sell a new wheel, that type of thing. So there are some.
But the far majority of it won't be?
Probably.
Okay, just want to know.
Is this, am I to understand this is the first mint coming to the state of Illinois?
That's correct.
And it'll be located, yeah, that's great.
Yes. They're scattered around the country, but this would be the first.
Okay, great. Great presentation also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then for the attorney, the 8 points that are in Ms. Comstock's letter are
Those and more,
incorporated?
yes.
They are incorporated. Those are the ones that you were talking about. They are part of the ordinances.
All right, I got 3 questions. In the ordinance, it says that it's water-based, and, he said that the clear coat is not. Does that have to change? And
Yeah,
then
that should be it. You're correct. Sorry to interrupt, but you're right, and that was what was clarified at the last meeting, that the clear coat is a solvent-based clear coat.
Right, and you mentioned that tonight. Yeah. And then exactly how far are we from the homes that are near this? How far away? We're looking at
I don't
less
know.
than 500 feet, but I don't know the actual distance.
Anybody know the distance?
I don't know the exact distance. The reason why we had to do it is because the edge of our property is within 500 feet. However, the area this portion is going to be in is going to be the furthest north.
As far away as it can.
It's by BMW and between BMW and Westmont Body Works, essentially.
Okay. And then the other one is, do the technicians have to wear respirators and spray?
Our technicians are required by law to wear respirators when they're in the spray booth, and the booth is in the spray cycle. But anybody outside would not be exposed to any paint or.
Oh, it's filtered.
Yeah. The respirators are, they're good for even the guys that are sanding. Even though this will have a Eurovac system, they're good to wear if you're anywhere near any paints or anything like that. The mixed room, it's not necessary. So, the other thing that some people don't understand is that the only time that there's any spray that actually goes out of a paint booth nowadays, because of how high-tech the equipment is during the actual spray mode. And it takes you, after you sand, do everything, it maybe takes you a minute to paint a bumper, a minute to clear it. So, and after that, the air-driven louvers are shut off and everything goes into a recirc mode. So, I mean, there's more pollutants coming out of a car exhaust in the McDonald's drive-through than there is this paint booth.
Jill, did you have an answer to trustee Barker's question?
I have a little diagram that shows, I apologize because it's in black and white, but it's 147 feet to the residential. It would be located in this little corner over here, and then the nearest homeowners are over here.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any additional questions?
No, great
comments?
presentation. I think I think it's a neat business idea. I could see a lot of people taking advantage of this service, and McGrath runs a great dealership in town, and I know they're going to do a great job. So I have no issues. We met all the criteria. I think the residents are happy, and I hope that everybody's all right with it.
Okay, thank you.
But I need looking for a motion to approve the special use permit.
So move, Scott.
Second, Nero.
Motion's been made and second. Any additional questions? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Then I'll also entertain a motion for the variance to permit the cosmetic repair center within 500 feet of a residence district.
Motion approved, Scott.
Second, Seneca.
Motion's been made and seconded. No question. Roll call, please.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Good. We've approved with those conditions that were recommended, so go ahead and get the construction going. And again, St. Louis for 34 years. I saw you trip that Boston guy that was in here. I was watching. Agenda item D, waste management contract renewal. The village board to consider an ordinance extending the current waste management, solid waste, and recycling collection contract for 5 additional years. Manager Searle.
Thank you. I apologize for not bringing this up under my report earlier, but I meant to let the board know that based on discussions with Waste Management and the village attorney, we'd like to ask for a motion to postpone this to the 14th. And we'd also like to have an opportunity to bring this item on the Public Works Committee meeting on that date beforehand to clarify a couple of questions that we had that need to go into the final agreement.
You want a motion to postpone to the 14th?
Yes.
Make the
If
motion.
I could, if I'm not going to be here.
Motion was made. Was there a second?
I'll second.
Second, motion been made and second to postpone. On the question, Trustee Barry.
We could postpone it later if that would.
No, that's fine. I just was, and I think Bruce and I think the mayor have received this email about the food scrap composting that Waste Management is sponsoring in Oak Park, and there's been some interest if the school districts here would be interested in that. And so if Waste Management was going to be here tonight, that was a question I was going to have for them. Again, I think, did you get that, Bruce, in regard to Westmont First? So maybe that's something that either that you could bring up or for that resident and see if that is something. It sounded like a very interesting program. I guess the Jewel food stores are behind it and a couple of the other food stores. So if it reduces costs and is good for the environment, it may be a win-win, so.
When I was at a conference in Portland, they do the food compost.
Really, literally the
Through
first
their-
day I've heard of it was
Yeah.
today.
No, we heard about it then.
And I know Trustee Barry, you'll be gone, but we've had this on the agenda in another committee meeting. If there's something, comments or anything, please feel free to give them to me so I can express those at the committee meeting.
I will, don't
I know
you
you
worry.
will. Any other questions or comments? And the motion is to postpone till November the 14th. Roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Agenda item E, the Comcast PEG capital fee. Board to consider a motion to authorize staff to initiate a PEG capital fee pursuant to the agreement between the Village of Westmont and Comcast. I'm going to ask the manager, Cheryl, to read, and I'm going to ask our finance director, Spencer Parker to please go to the podium. Manager Searle.
You sure?
Village staff is requesting permission to initiate a PEG capital fee with Comcast pursuant to the current agreement. This fee would not exceed 35 cents per month and would be billed by Comcast through August 1st, 2020. The fee would be used to replace aging video production and support equipment used to produce live programming of the village board, committee meetings, school board meetings, along with special events and training sessions. Just to clarify.
Chased around out of the room.
PEG stands for Public Access, Education, and Government Access. Those three components are part of that terminology. And this was something that was negotiated during the last renewal of the franchise agreement. This is kind of a standard language that Comcast has put in all of their franchise renewals. And we understood when we approved the franchise agreement that this mechanism was in there, and the board at the time approved that and understood that. And now we have a need to actually activate that part of the franchise so that we can go forward and keep our meetings on TV. So.
I have this night coming, but. We're waiting. Okay. No, well, you know, I know you want to introduce the count, so.
Well, I'm going to introduce him. I met his whole family was trick-or-treating. I thought they'd be all the Sesame Street characters. Being tonight is Halloween, and I think he gets the best costume by the staff and the board.
I was going to vote for Jill.
Finance Director Spencer Parker, you're at the podium. Would you like to address the board?
I think Manager Searle pretty much summed up the situation. We've got some aging equipment that we need to be able to replace going forward. The way that we have negotiated to do that is through this PEG fee. For the purposes of transparency, we felt it would be best to present this at a board meeting. Even though it was already part of the franchise agreement, we wanted to present it here so that the public has an opportunity to hear about it. And we're going to make the payment out of our current reserves. We have the money available to do that rather than going out for a loan for the initial payment of the $47,000 or so. We're going to be taking care of that from our fund balance currently and then repaying ourselves with this PEG fees. This will be the first of a couple of different series of purchases. We're going to start off with this initial purchase and then be doing some of the other equipment that's not quite aged out yet within the next couple of years. I don't know if there's any additional questions. I know Glenn's probably better qualified to answer some of these than I am, but I can try.
So I'm going to allow 35 cents a month to go on my Comcast bill so I keep this on TV.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What, can we pay like double that to keep you off?
That'll teach you.
Yeah.
Per resident.
Put that to a vote. I bet you it would pay.
Check this box. You want to see trustee Addington. All right, if no other, need a motion to authorize staff?
So moved, Addington.
Second, Nero.
Motion been made in second.
Addington? Okay, I didn't hear Jim say it.
Yes. Motion was
Usually
made
so
by
loud.
trustee
You didn't say it loud enough, is that what you're saying?
Trustee Nero seconded.
Yeah, you were
Any
pretty
additional
soft.
questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Agenda item F, part-time safety and loss control coordinator. Board to consider a motion to temporarily lift the hiring freeze for the sole purpose of hiring Michael Chorney as a part-time safety and loss control coordinator. Manager Searle.
As a member of the Intergovernmental Risk Management Agency Self-Insurance Pool, we have a strong need for these services. This position was discussed and approved in concept during the 2013-14 budget preparation process. Under Mr. Cherney's leadership, and I think we talked about this when he came in earlier in the year, we've been able to maintain a very strong and award-winning safety program that has benefited the residents by helping to keep our contributions down, which is a term in lieu of premiums. We pay contributions to the self-insurance pool. So we're at this time asking if the board would lift this so that we could go forth with that.
Any questions? Again, this would be contractually, and he'd stay underneath the allotted IMRF pension hours, because you can work up to 600 hours. So, and I do know firsthand from having worked with Mike through the years, he is very valuable to the, like you said, the winning safety record that this village has, not only for the workers, but then for the residents too. So I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve Barker.
Second, Seneca?
Motion made and seconded. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Agenda item G, the Environmental Improvement Commission. The board to consider an ordinance reestablishing the Environmental Improvement Commission. Manager Searle.
Trustee Barry brought this up recently as an item to be added to the board agenda for discussion. As many of you know, the commission was dissolved several years ago during the budget process, and what Trustee Barry asked to talk about in concept was the idea of bringing the commission back as a volunteer commission. So we put that item on the agenda here to discuss it this evening. I would anticipate that the role I'm anticipating that his expectation of the role of the commission would be similar to what they had in the past. There are a number of communities around us that still have these types of commissions, so it wouldn't be completely unusual. And personally, and I'm speaking only personally at this point, I feel like environmental issues are something that we really need to continue to look at. We see the things happening around us every day, and I think it would be a good thing to execute, particularly on a volunteer basis.
Trustee Barry, we'll give you an opportunity maybe to share your thoughts.
It's been brought up to me that even as a volunteer commission, there would be a cost to the village.
There is.
With
Any
the
type of
union.
staff supported function costs the village and the residents something, because it's going to cost our time. But again, we're doing some of this stuff already. We have the ad hoc climate control study that was done a few years ago that we have to report on each year. I would imagine this sort of thing would kind of fit over in that area. Yes, there'll be time involved where we'll have to have somebody attend those meetings.
So that's been pointed out, and just wanted to, publicly acknowledge that it does cost the village to have this. But we've seen recently with the stormwater, a lot of those solutions are environmentally tied, whether it be the runoff, the pollution, just in general, the appearance of it. And then secondly, we see with waste management, we have issues, again, of residents contacting about these. These would be things that then could be brought to the board and had more discussion versus our 2 hours. So those were my thoughts behind it. Again, we used to have it, and a lot of those members had mentioned that they would be willing to volunteer and do it, that they felt that strongly about it. I think some of those same two of the gentlemen that were very affluent in the stormwater are two of those that are interested in the environmental. So I think we see what a great job they've done there.
Past commissioners.
Past commissioners, as a matter of fact.
They
so.
are, and I might add that we've had some very qualified commissioners too in terms of their educational and
I think we were
expertise.
Overqualified, as a matter of fact.
Very
I think the
fortunate.
folks in the past who have been on, who have wanted to serve on the Environmental Commission are committed. They're dedicated because of the
issue.
Purpose, the issue. And there are so many things that they can work on. We've got the electronics recycling, which can always be made better, working with Waste Management on their recycling programs, which can always be better. The rain barrels which is a new program that we've been doing. which could
DuPage
be
River
part of that.
Sweep would be a great thing to add to that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Cleanup.
I think there's a lot, yeah.
Cleanup.
Education with the schools, there's so much this commission
Yeah, I
can
think there's a
accomplish.
ton of things that they can do to assist us, to assist the community and make it better.
I agree. I think it's time to bring it back.
Oh, that's a
Harold
good
said there's a
idea.
cost involved with it.
He's gonna pay for it.
Fund it, so.
But that's nothing compared to the cost by not having it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Good
Good point, very good point. So I guess I'd entertain a motion to actually pass the ordinance reestablishing the Environmental Improvement Commission.
So move Seneca.
Second, Barry?
Motion been made and second. Any additional questions?
Don't
If
take
not,
my,
roll call,
don't
please.
take
Oh,
stormwater
here's a
committees
question.
too quick. Don't take stormwater committee members too fast.
No, they have
Make
to
them
stay there
different
till we get that
nights.
thing going. Amen.
Well, I'll have to have trustee Barry be the trustee that this will be his committee, but.
That's right.
Right.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Agenda item 10 miscellaneous. I have one item, and our Thanksgiving week board meeting. We officially made that the 26th. Is it that Tuesday night? I'm just bringing it up. I mean, it's not on the agenda, but I thought we, just for the public's information, I think we changed it from Thanksgiving night.
Because we have to go shopping that night.
And I don't think I thought we said it was going to be on the 26th, that Tuesday night.
That's what my recollection, we were talking about this the
Yes.
other
Yeah, instead of the
evening, that-
Wednesday, so, we do have a meeting on the 14th, then the following meeting will be on November the 26th, on a Tuesday night. That's Thanksgiving week, so we'll make sure the website posts that.
And what do we do with Christmas week?
We were gonna wait and see if there was business, I think, if we
Yeah,
needed
that's
to
right,
have a
yeah.
meeting.
I think on all of these, I think we should wait and see just how hectic. I mean, there might not be anything for that one before Thanksgiving,
Well,
too. You just
you're
never
right.
know.
Yep, but right now, it's tentatively for the 26th, and on the 14th, we'll determine if it's necessary, but it's scheduled for the 26th.
Yeah.
Any other miscellaneous business?
If I could get an update?
Yes.
From Mr. May. Actually, I have two agendas. I've seen the reports on Pasquinelli and 83. Do we have an update on what's going on there? I've heard from some of the businesses at St. James, and I know we kind of, last I had heard, ComEd was delaying some things, but is there an update?
Yes. The last work that was seen up there, last Friday, they did put in 99% of the asphalt surface, and since then, you've seen the pavement markings go in. So the constructive pavement has been completed. However, there are still 2 poles that are located in the pavement cross-section. One of them is in the newly established right turn lane that is off of Ogden Avenue that would allow you to turn onto Pasquinelli, and so therefore that whole lane is barricaded off. And the other pole is in the curb line on the other corner. Those poles are there for the sole purpose of supplying the power to what is the temporary traffic control signal. And we still have to install when I say we, the project has to install the permanent traffic signal equipment, and that controller has its own power source, and that is what is actually we're waiting on, is the electrical service for the permanent traffic signal. And once that's done, the equipment goes up fast, the new traffic signal gets turned on, actually the old poles can be pulled out right away. They'll have to do a little bit of asphalt patch, and that's what's being done. So that, as far as, what we like to sum up as the ComEd delay, is that service for the traffic control. And there are other things to be done in the parkway. They are still working on a retaining wall inside, so.
The question that goes, is there any hope that will be done by Black Friday?
Well, I don't really know. We've got no information as to what their schedule is. However, all of the lanes are open now. I mean, it looks like it's in construction, but it is wide as it will ever be, so it's really
It's
in a
actually
good
very,
place.
It's a lot
it's
easier to
improved.
maneuver.
It's much improved.
We have the
with-
dual left turn lane is active.
It's much
very
easier to
efficient.
get in and out of there now.
Much improved since.
So I know they're frustrated, and I'm not, disputing all the, agony that went with everything leading up to today, but it's in a very good place right now.
It's probably just a lack of communication from ComEd that just aggravates everybody.
It
'cause we-
wasn't just ComEd. We look at ComEd, I mean, the underground services have been hit multiple times by different people for different reasons. And to just blame the one entity, but at this point, that is what we're waiting on. But there was a whole series of issues that all came back to electrical service.
But is ComEd giving us a time frame?
Not that I'm aware of.
And we have lack of communication with
Yeah,
ComEd.
well, I should have asked before tonight.
You, Bob. You hit that nail on the head.
I mean, that's.
You know who gets blamed, Steve. You know who gets blamed.
It's not you, but it's ComEd because they're kind of notorious for.
Well, yeah, they,
Yeah, and I'm not saying this in defense of anybody, but when, we were in there and, what is the status of this? And their approach is that they didn't even have a work order, even though this has been going on for more than a year, and the preliminary utility coordination meetings have been going on for years before this. They were unaware that, we need an electrical service for that traffic signal. And then there was another week of, well, is it an IDOT or is it village? And then the IDOT says it's village power, and we just said, we don't care, please initiate the order, we'll take it. And, so on their end, they say they only just got the work order. And those are the frustrating aspects of that.
But we're looking almost at November 1st here.
Yes.
tomorrow.
And it could be snowing in not too much time, so as easy it is to get around that corner, you start putting plows up there. And what do you do with those barricades and how's it gonna be
Well,
at
if the
that
plow
point?
could
Then
take
you're
the
gonna
pole
have a
down,
mess.
then it'll go a little bit quicker.
Okay.
You had another question, I believe, or was it just
It's
past
been going
Nelly?
on since early spring.
I believe we'll be updated, or I won't be, but at the Public Works, we are still talking the crosswalks on Cass Avenue.
Yes.
That's on the agenda. 'Cause it seems to me that they paved it, and now it's really dark black. I noticed in the mornings that it seems like it's almost become more dangerous if possible, because they put that really black stripe in there, and it's actually, it's worse than it was.
The
Which one?
the problems and the features for the Quincy Street crosswalk was the condition of the pavement that prevented us to do, other repairs. So that patch was done while they had the railroad closed. We took advantage. Actually, the same contractor did it. If you recall back to the railroad crossing, they got very close to finishing it, and then between 4 PM and 7 PM, the railroad actually prohibited the contractor from working anywhere in that area during that peak rush hour. So during that break, they went over and did that crosswalk repair for us. And then the pavement markings went in, which helped. And then the rest of it we'll go over at
I
Public
think I've
Works
seen it
Committee.
before the pavement was marked. It was just the black,
Yes.
so.
I haven't seen it at
painted.
night, but it's really identifiable today. During the day, it was great. In fact, I thought to myself, wow, it's turned out pretty good.
Must have been before it was painted, when it was just the
Yeah.
black.
The
Could very well
by
be.
La Petite Suite, it's white, he's got the
It's-
crosswalk sign right in the middle.
That's what's good, is that
Yeah.
sign
Yeah.
right in the middle.
It's good, it's high visibility, and
Somebody can hit it with their
Well,
Lexus
they
and then go
hit
get
it
it fixed.
I was a
regularly.
little afraid I was gonna hit it today.
Not the one on North Cass, but the one at Quincy, we've probably gone through a dozen there that just get destroyed.
Well, it's, yeah.
The, one quick item on ComEd, the North Cass station, the transfer station, I believe the fence is up and the landscaping is complete. So from one side, ComEd did follow through
Yeah.
and finish that project, so.
Really at a rapid pace, really. I mean, it was just a month ago.
Yeah, we did. Good on that.
And that didn't involve service, so I would think it would be the opposite, but, so. All right, any other miscellaneous? If not, there being no further business, I'll entertain a motion to go in executive session to discuss collective negotiating matters between the village and its employees.
Then I will make a motion to go into executive session to discuss collective bargaining.
Second, Scott.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Seneca. Yes. Trustee Nero.
Yes.
And this meeting will be adjourned to executive session. We will come back. There'll be no further official business. Executive.
Much.